friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me discussing how I use Notion / my bullet journal to plan out stories, story ideas, and things I want to develop into more than just a random bubble floating around in my head. So if you guys are interested in this video, keep watching. If you guys want more videos like this, let me know in the comments and hit like and subscribe so you guys never miss a video when I upload it, all that YouTuber jargon. But until then, let's just kind of hop right into it. Alright, so I'm just gonna rearrange really quickly because I realize now that I need to be a little closer to the camera. Okay. So we're gonna start off here on my homepage. So basically, when I say bullet journal, I do still plan in my bullet journal a little bit. It's nothing too intense as to what I used to do. I definitely have toned it down because, again, I transfer most of the story ideas up in here. So basically what I do is every month I have a little part, like a little page that says story ideas, or 2 pages, a spread. There we go. A spread that consists of 2 pages that says story ideas, and I just basically brainstorm and brain dump story ideas that I get on there every single time that it comes to me. I carry my bullet journal basically everywhere that I go, so it's not difficult for me to be able to do that. However, since I do bullet journal every month and I do switch bullet journals, if on a good year every 6 months, it's a little hard to remember where the story ideas are and how to find them and where to find them. So this is just a way for me to keep track of everything. Once I have a story idea on my bullet journal, at the end of the month I will transfer everything to a page on this story ideas page that I make here. Again, I guess I've seen this in my Notion tour. If you guys haven't seen my full Notion, I will leave that link down below for y'all. But as you guys can tell, I have 2021 story ideas. I'm just gonna move that so you guys don't see that, because that is fanfic ideas, because I like to write fanfic when I have blocks. But basically, I get one here. Basically, again, I have all of my story ideas from June when I started this, and then now I have 2022 story ideas. So let's say, is anything in February yet? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So say I have an idea for a story in February that I've written in my bullet journal. I already have an idea here, so we'll just write it down here. I'll go ahead and turn that spread into this idea here. So I'll just say story idea. Story idea. Actually, hold on. I get very specific with this because turn that into heading 3 so it's nice and big. And the good thing about Notion is that it does have a quick finds feature. So if, say, I think I wrote a story, I can remember the idea of my story kind of like Atlantis, or not. Yeah, see, Atlantis story idea, sunk, blah 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 blah. So I have that, and it's easier to find than rather just flipping through a bajillion pages in several bullet journals to find the idea. So, but here, sorry, I have written my notes on my Notion and I need it, but I can't have 2 tabs going at the same time. Well, I could, but it's just a lot of flipping and I don't want to do that. So we'll go with this story idea that I did kind of loosely think up. So this is me transferring ideas, I guess, from my bullet journal onto my Notion. As I said before, girl is forced to move to a small town and discovers that the town has a secret, and ooh, that's how I spell has. Or not. Has. Way before she was born. Because, this is a pretty popular trope, I'm sure. If y'all want to steal it, I'm sure it's somewhere out there. So this is kind of where I'll go ahead and start plotting out major plot points that kind of come to mind. I'll have character names here, descriptions and face claims that will go under this, and then again, major plot points like plot point 1. Oh geez, why they move, I guess all that stuff up until like I decided like, okay, this could be more than just like a little bubble in my head. And after that, I guess I can go ahead. This is where like planning gets a little bit insane. So this is where, I'm gonna hide that there. This is where like I have like story ideas that like I want to plan out more, but you know, taking up space here. Again, I'll just write it down here like faux, oh dear, story idea. And within this mini page, I'll go ahead and transfer in like all the notes that I had, all of the ideas that I had in brainstorm, and I just kind of like, let's see, what's the story? We'll go here. This is one that I haven't really written. Oop, just kidding. There we go. Yeah, so this is like, do I have like, this is a short story, so I don't mind it too much, but this is like an idea that I had with like loose outlines, and then I'll just kind of move it along and say it's finished, or I decide that like, you know, I'm not gonna write this. I can just move it along to the Kanban board. Oh, hold on, cat is bugging to leave. And that's kind of like the basics of how I plan out stories loosely. It's not super, oops, stop it. It's not super in-depth, at least for this bit. No, don't do it again. There we go. It's not super in-depth for this bit. It's very linear. It's very quick and easy. It's just me to jot my notes down and like figure everything out. But where did did I write it down? There we go. Yep. But then as more we get into it, like we start adding like little like basic lines of ideas like plots, characters, things I need to work on, or like if it's a story that I'm currently writing, then it's gonna be in there. I swear I had, stop it, had an idea for something else in here, but I think it's gonna be probably here-ish. I could be wrong. See, this is more like it's definitely more of a fleshed out idea of that. Let's see, and then once that, like, this is all done, like plotting, like plots, characters, and all that stuff is done, I'll go ahead and create like a board in of itself that's just going to be all about that specific, Nico, and that's going to be all about that specific story. So I'll just go ahead and duplicate this one. Just so we can kind of like get a feel for it. I'll change it up. Hashtag faux story idea, because I don't know what else to call it. You know, decorated all nicely. I'll change this really quickly and make it into like a home with a tree. But yeah. So this is basically, I found this template online. I am going to switch it up a little bit, so I don't know if I find it for you guys, I'll leave a link down below. I'm pretty sure I have the link. But I am going to change it up quite a bit, just because I tried using this idea and it did not work out that well for me. But basically, I create, as it says here, I create separate pages for everything. I don't know if this will have the outline or everything copied over, because I don't want you all to see those notes. Page. Okay, so we'll start off with the outline. I like using Kanban boards for everything. Before I realized what Notion was, I literally took index cards. Not the most like friendly, like environmentally friendly situation out there, but I took index cards and like pasted them all over my mirror. And that's how I like moved things around and figured it out. But here, let's see, board? I always forget what it is. Pretty sure it's a board. No, it's not. Or did you analyze this? It is. So this is going to be the outline. Okay, so this is just basically like the basic outline. Again, it's going to be, how I outline things is basically a very intense way. So basically it's chapter 1, MC point of view, and I label it that way. And then I basically just have a bullet pointed list of what happens down to like dialogue. Like, this is how insane I get when it comes to this. I like having everything planned out, which makes sense because I'm like a type B.2, I guess. B with all the A necessities, but not the A need for control, I guess. I don't know. But this basically just like lets me know like what happens in the chapter, how I wanted to break it down, and like what exactly like plot points, I guess, like 1, 2, and 3. And then foreshadowing that I want to happen, and dialogue. So like if I thought of like a funny scene between like the main character and her parents, or like the main character and like the administrator at the school, I don't know, I can write it down there and I won't forget it, which is great. And then again, I haven't like I fully used this to my advance, but yeah, so then this gives me the option to change everything. So I guess like no status means it's still there. Did anyone mark the first chapter? Chapter 1. Thank you. Not started, in progress, and then completed. So I can just like, you can change this obviously. So once that's changed, and like as I like update, like not started, just don't do that. So this is like not started, like this is just like the outline and the idea, and then in progress, like I'm writing it, and then once it's completed, it'll go here. And then as it goes up, like, you know, more chapters get written or more ideas get written, it keeps going. And the good thing about a Kanban board is that one, more like a digital Kanban board, is that it's more environmentally friendly, no more index cards, which kind of sucks because I have like a bajillion index cards now. And two, the more cards you make, like that, the more you can just like move them around. Say like chapter 1, it doesn't really fit chapter 1 anymore. I can just change that to chapter 2, move that around. Chapter 2, and then say chapter 2 becomes chapter 1. So it's just very easy to like visualize everything and move around, which is great because I'm a very visual person, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but I guess like in the greater scheme of things, of like not wasting your time and just getting into harder writing, it'd be a little unfortunate. Again, locations, I don't know. This works. It's still empty, but yeah. So you can have your like location breakdowns. Again, it's not a full page. I like full pages. It just looks cleaner. But then you could just like talk about like, I guess this is more like specific to the country and the city and the blah 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 blah. But if you wanted to, it could be like main locations. So like where your characters will probably hang out a lot more, where they'll be seen, and like where the story will typically take place, and then like minor locations here. And then if you wanted to, you could do extra special locations. Oh no, extra special locations for like big plot twists or something that aren't like side locations that just happen like every now and again, or like the main locations where all the action and everything is happening, which is great. Now the characters, this is where I get a little insane. Super easy. Again, this template that I found does come with like everything, so you can customize it, but this is where I get a little scary. So let's see, we'll just change the name to main character. There we go. MC. So again, profile, like this is interesting. I haven't had a chance to play with this one specifically, but how I like to plan out characters is like things like physical appearance. We'll just do personality because I don't want to take a test for every single character all the time. Goals will be fine. Lies and the truth, I don't know what that is, but let's see what I write on here. I guess I could also add like, do they get a POV? Because that's important if you're writing multiple POVs, so that way you're like, don't get confused to yourself. And then here we could just do key traits. Sherman. Bullet point that. Sherman. And then we can add things like birthday, how they speak, birthday and age, I guess, and age, how they speak, which is very important, so that way you can differentiate everything. This is how, like, I guess this is how I've written pretty, like, well fleshed out characters, or like characters that are very different from one another, just because I very much focus on like how they speak, how they talk, how they walk, how they dress. I guess habits, like things if they go running that day. I can also add their diction if they get a point of view, so that way like they're very different from each character. Like just like not like super insane diction, but like little, I guess like little ticks and quirks. Like say, one character when they first meet someone, they focus on the eyes. The other character focuses immediately on their posture and how they survey the room. Those little things that most people won't really notice, but I think is important when it comes to defining your character and who they are as a person. habits, and I guess quirks, like if they fidget with their hands quite a bit, if they prefer to eat dinner on the right side of the table versus the left, do they prefer like their silverware matching, little things, motivations and goals. This is, I guess, dependent, but I don't really want to use that per se. Let's see, I guess I could go with this one. We can go with intended arc for the story, and just write down like a little blurb that you want for them as the story progresses, like where do you want the character to end up, like a beginner, just because I feel like you could get a little intense with this. And then again with the tags and locations, I'm just going to change this to POV. Yes. Status. I guess so, yeah. Good. And we'll go from there. Anything else you wanted to add, like these things, or like just, I guess, here. Then we could just do other notes in case like you want to add something that you might want to add to the character later on. All that fun stuff. And then same thing with the characters. You can probably also just include like other notes. Oh, here, actually. We could just make heading, what is that, another heading 3? Yeah, and just make this like relationships with other characters. So you can just define that a little better and make it just easier to like figure out, and you can have like side-by-side comparisons of like how this character is with so-and-so or how this character is with so-and-so. It works out quite nicely. Now the intense bit is my revisions. Keep everything in like one area. And then just in the in the contents, we can just make another page. Contents, make this a full width because I am specific like that. And then we write down revisions. Now revisions are where I get a little scary. A lot scary. But again, this is what I am currently doing now for my draft 4 of my book. Heading 3. Actually, I'll make this a little bigger. Heading 2. Let's see. Things to note. So this is going to be like a nice to-do, which is just like things I want to focus on, like Li betrays MC. Make it more subtle. Build it up. There we go. Build it up rather than make it a big surprise. Surprise. Give MC a more meaningful friendship that she loses. B. Build up Big Z more. Alright, and then Kanban board. Board. Inline. And this is where I get a little scary. Revisions. I don't know why I switches that, but it's fine. So again, we're going to do it this way, which is completed, not started. No, actually, we'll just do stuck on for this one. What widgets did I have, actually? There we go. In progress, needs work. Two different things, clearly. But this is where things get a little fun. So similar to outlining in the beginning, you're just going to break down everything by your chapters, and as you're reading, what I like to do is basically write down like a loose bullet pointed list of what happens in said chapter, what you want each chapter to happen, and then like things you want to change in the chapter, and then as like you're reading it, you're editing, or like, yeah, you're reading it, editing it, and then you're done, you can do that. And then when you get stuck on things, you could do that, or like say a concept of yours needs more work, you can add that. And then again, as things pile up, you can edit as needed. And then moving on to, I guess, heading 3, no, heading 2, just kidding. heading 2. We could also add character arcs here. Actually, I think you could change this into a toggle heading now, which is cool. Toggle list, no. There we go. Turn into toggle heading. Big brain. And then you could just make like separate pages. Page. MC, and then you could do something like full width, like a 2 side-by-side text blocks of OG character arc. List that out, and then next to that, there we go, actual character arc. That way you can compare the two and just have like a better idea of like, you know, where your character ended up going, because characters have a mind of their own, which is always fun. It's always fun. And then, yeah, you could also, for here, you could also add like dates, which is nice, like date, no, like that. And the good thing about having the revisions in your outline so like clearly like boxed up is when you do query letters, because everyone knows that, or most people should know, that a query letter is going to be basically like the entire synopsis of your book from beginning to end. So if you are going to start doing that, you could have like your query letter here for that, and be like, dear whomever it may concern, and you could just have like Notion in a separate tab or side by side with like your outline, and you could just explain everything in detail. And you have that because you have your revisions that are there, and whatnot. And then you could also probably just make like, I mean, if this is your first book, if this is like your 3rd or 4th book, you probably don't need to query an agent, but who knows. Query letter, and then before you do that, you can just have like a separate sub page. Agents, potential agents, and then again, this is you can tell I'm a little insane. It's fine. It's fine. There we go. Database. Agents. So then you could just say like their name, their email address, accepting new clients, and then I don't know if you guys are like this, I guess like requirements, and then you could say current or previous clients, just in case like, oh, Nico, okay. And then you could, like, if you wanted to have like a list of like clients they used to have or currently do have, and that like inspires you to like really go for them because of that. And yeah, but that is basically how I plan out everything, from beginning to end, and revisions. Physical appearance. I also like to add that I'll probably add a face claim in there, because that way I can just refer back to it, make it a little easier on me. Oh, I also forgot. Much like this little topic here for miscellaneous notes, you could also have an idea block, which is again just a fun little place for you to put like random ideas you thought of, but you're not really sure where you want to put it, or you're not sure where it fits, or you're not sure if it's going to fit in at all. So you could just have like brain dump, and then like brain dump, and then you can have like other ideas you have for your story. Again, lists to like your Pinterest boards, all that fun stuff. But that is basically how I plan every major whip of mine from beginning to end, with revisions involved. So if you guys like this idea, and hopefully you guys got some ideas for it, I will be leaving the original link to this template down below for y'all. And then the template that I am currently using for Dragon Queen Whip, just to see if you guys wanted to try that one for revisions. But if you guys like this video, let me know. If you guys want me to do more, let me know. But until next time, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful week. Hopefully you guys are getting all the inspiration that you need to keep writing. Hopefully this guide actually helps you out. This is very specific to me. This is my tried and true, and this is how I have planned out a story that I love and am on the final draft on. So hopefully you guys can glean something from this. But if you guys want more, just let me know in the comments. And until next time, have a good week. And hopefully if the week isn't great for you now, hopefully it gets better for you. Bye!